Hello, my name is Danny, and I want to discuss the topic of mental health within the workplace, right? So when we're in the workplace, there's a lot of pressures. You get pressure from your boss, pressure from the deadlines, anxiety, having to pay the bills, the kids, the mortgage, all of that stuff comes into play and comes into effect. Right? Redundancy, you've got restructure, you've got all these sort of things, right? So got me thinking, with mental health, it all plays a part, right? Because now you've got so much pressure on you, you become desperate, trying to find an answer, trying to understand what's happening, trying to find a way out. Sometimes you might even consider the what I call the nuclear option, which I won't go into details on this platform or in this video, but you get the idea. So what can we do to sort of help with this? Now, my own kind of experience, when I'm feeling really, really low, I mean, I don't have kids and mortgage or anything like that, but when I'm feeling particularly low, you know, I like to go to the park, for example. I'm in Sommer County Park at the moment, and, you know, look at this beautiful lush greenery. You know, and this is something that you can do outside of lunch, right? You can do this in the evening, lunchtime, you know, but look at it, there's nobody here. I mean, it's, what, 3 p.m. right now? There's nobody here. Just blue skies and the grassland. Right? So that's one way that we could get around the problem. But there's another way, and a more kind of subtler way. You see, all of those worries, all of those fears, those are a part of our belief system of what we believe and perceive to be happening. And this is what I've kind of learned whilst being in a bit of a reflective phase of my life right now. They're kind of a reflection of state. And just saying, right, okay, things are uncertain, things are unclear, things are not very good. Fine. And that's because of our belief system. Our belief is to think that, oh, it's the end of the world, blah, 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 because we perceive it on the evidence. And that's not to say it's not necessarily true. It might be. But the point I'm trying to make is that our internal belief system affects the way that we feel, affects the way that we interact, how we eat, how we present ourselves, how we show up in the world. So what can we do? Well, we need to understand and diagnose the thoughts, like a surgeon or a doctor, right? A doctor will look at you and describe, right, okay, what's your physical ailment? Maybe it's a headache, hypertension, a cramp, a cut. Surgeon will say, right, okay, maybe we need to amputate your leg because, you know, you have an infection from this cut. You know, it's possible. It's happened to people. Okay, well, it might not be something that we can necessarily stop. It might not be something that we can, you know, it might not be something that we can actually control. It might be out of our control. Perhaps there's no other way but to cut off the leg or the arm, for example. So that can leave us in a real state of shock. But we can control our experience through controlling our internal space. In other words, nothing from the external world, which is the 3D plane, right? It's what we can see, smell, touch, hear, can really affect us as an individual being. I know that's hard to say, but think about it this way. If you were struggling financially, what are your alternatives? Okay, well, for a start, if you're struggling financially, you have the option of running a business, which is your own, or you can join somebody's company. That's the other one. So what's the middle path? Well, it would be you being in a company, starting your own company. Right? That'll be the middle path. So my point is that there's a duality in it. You have one option, which is to say, right, it's the end of the bloody world. Everything's caving in on me and I don't really know what to do. The other way of looking at it is, well, what do I believe? What do I wholeheartedly believe? You know, some people will say, well, I wholeheartedly believe in a different future. I wholeheartedly believe in what I'm doing is going to be good for the world. I wholeheartedly believe that I am doing the best and highest good that I can do. And that's good enough. Because that belief system, that imagination, that creativity is what the world, for some reason, squashes. And it kind of goes back to the theory of, you know, the 5 people, for example, that you hang around with. And the 5 people that you hang around with should be uplifting you. They should be encouraging you to follow your dreams. They should be encouraging you to think bigger. But in the modern day, in the modern age, we're taught to think small. Why? What's the point? You know, to not follow your dreams, to not be an individual, to not value your mental health, to not kind of value life, right? I mean, I'm just here. Now, why is that important? Because when we get lost in the world that's here at the moment, all this noise, all this garbage, just garbage, we forget what's on our doorstep. This, the sky, the woods behind me. That's what's important. That's not what we get enough of. We're stuck in a box half the time, thinking that's the only alternative that we have to life. It's just a body. We're going to get, you know, after 70, 80 years, it breaks down and it fails like any other machine. But the spirit and the heart, that goes wherever you go. So, don't worry about it. And I don't mean don't worry about it in the sense that, you know, it's the end of the world, things are going to happen. What I mean by don't worry about it is, if you worry about it too much, instead of you worrying about it, it's going to worry about you. And that's what will consume you. So rather than worrying about it, yeah, you can think of alternatives. I'm not saying no. Because that's what you should be doing. But think, how can I make this bigger than myself? How can I adapt to the situation? How can I live with myself by creating a dream and following through on that dream? Because it's your belief system that's ultimately making you sick, right? If you think negative, it's going to make you sick. If you think positive, it's going to be making you feel better. So if you're in a business, fire the negative. I don't mean fire your negative as in don't be negative. Of course, there are going to be times when you need to be negative, right? If somebody's trying to beat you up, of course you're going to need to be negative. You're not going to sit there and take it, right? You need to tell them to, like, go away. What I'm saying is, don't let it demean you. Don't let it make you feel small. Don't let it destroy you. Don't let this outside world, with all of its rubbish, tell you who to be. You're an individual. You have your own thoughts, your own mind, your own belief systems. So find people who want to support it and nurture it. That's the main thing. And then build something beautiful together. So, oh, see, look, have a nice dog here. Look, see? This is what it's about. See? We've got this nice dog here. So that's what it's about. Community, building something together, building something for the sake of humanity. Because, we're all human, we're all doing our best. So let's keep it going, right? Catch you in the next one.